Trojans, Utes in a battle down to the wire. We recap it here on the Student Body Right USC podcast.
Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. It wasn't a beautiful day out there in Salt Lake City for the Trojans of USC. Since we've done this show, this is the first year we've done it, and this is the first loss that we have to talk about and kind of wrap our brains around what happened there in Utah. PORSBR is my Twitter handle. PORSBR is my Twitter handle. So definitely check us out on Twitter. And also don't forget to subscribe to the show. You know, there's a large percentage of you who watch the show but don't subscribe to it. Please subscribe, rate, review, and do all the things on iTunes as well. So we appreciate all the support that you guys have for our show, for this show, and for the Put On Raiders podcast as well with myself and Ryan Holmes. So USC gets off to a fabulous start in Utah. They look like just manhandling the Utes early in that game. And I just want to get the play out of the way, because the play out of the way that USC fans want to talk about is the third and goal, the hit on the quarterback, Cameron Rising, on a blitz. It just looks like a regular old play. You know, he gets rid of the football and he gets hit in the back. Not really, anything egregious, anything violent. I think Brock Hewitt kind of said it best. This is football, and I think this point is, they get into a point where it's getting kind of ridiculous. I'm one of the weirdos in football where I actually like the targeting call. I actually like some of the ways they're trying to protect players in college football, but that was not a play of protection. That was a play of, I'm a referee and I want to be on TV. It really is what it is. Like that's me wanting to be a referee and wanting to be on TV. And we saw a lot of those flags in that game. I know some Oregon State fans are, putting up stills of penalties that could have been or should have been maybe in the USC Oregon State games. Let me calm you Beavers down. If you don't score 20 points in the game, don't cry about winning that game. I'll just put it to you that way. And that's why you're the Beavers and we're the Trojans. So we'll keep it like there. But Stanley Tualofu hit Cameron Rising in the back. I mean, just kind of a shove after the play was over. And just to think that if he just pulled his hands back and never touched him, I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have found another penalty to call on USC, but it took away at that point in the game. It was 14-0 USC. Bullock had the interception. It was, Kalen Bullock had an interception. Just looked like one of his many interceptions. It was a forced play. Probably a really bad play. Like, here is the thing about that play that's tough is that you are rewarding bad football when you reward that play. Cameron Rising is going to be a first round or second round pick in the NFL draft. He has an opportunity to really, to be a good pro, but that's a bad play by him. Why are you as an official rewarding a bad play on a football field? There was no advantage gained. There was nothing egregious there. And I think that maybe, I'm not sure what the backgrounds of league officials are. I'm not sure what the background of any of these guys, referees, linesmen, or whatever. But I think that maybe we should find people who play college football. Like, maybe we should find people who've maybe been in a foxhole and play quarterback. Maybe we should find people like that in order to kind of get this ridiculousness. And the ridiculousness also is in the National Football League as well. So we can't sit there and say just college. But that's a hard play. That's a really bad play to have in a football game. That you're. Let's be honest. That is a national championship playoff implications in this game. Let the kids let the kids sort that out. Like let them do that. Giving away a first down there, just you're giving somebody 7 points. Now you could say, the other side, devil's advocate, because we're not a total rah-rah USC podcast show. You could have said, hey, they had their entire length of the field to get a stop on that drive. But USC came out, scored, got to stop, scored, got to stop. I mean, and then Utah has the ball again. They drive down the field, nice drive, and they get into the red area, and he makes an egregious mistake. He makes a horrible throw. He didn't make very many horrible throws in this game, but he made a horrible throw early in that ball game that really could have cost his team the win. Who knows if USC scores on that drive to make it 21 or 17-0, but it's possible. The way they were moving the football, that was a huge play. And what I don't understand is why they just can't let those kids play, especially on a ticky-tack play like that. I mean, that ball, it's such a ticky-tack play that it's like, it's not football. At that point, then give them a skirt. I hate to use that word, skirt, or flags on around their waist, and then we're gonna just see if they can pull the flag off. Because if you're gonna tell these linemen, you're basically telling these defensive coordinators not to blitz, rush 4, it might be a penalty. It's too much. It's too much. But like I said, that's all to say about that play, because even with that play, USC had a multitude of opportunities to win this game. I thought this was a wasted loss for the Trojans here because of the brilliance, the absolute brilliance of the play caller, that is Lincoln Riley, and the brilliance of what Caleb Williams did in this game. Caleb Williams was incredible in this ball game. I mean, he was absolutely I think only the altitude really stopped him. I mean, they mentioned in the game that he was on the bench, kind of breathing heavy, but I mean, it was just that. The guy was fantastic in this ball game. 5 touchdown passes, 25 of 42. You can't get better than that. They did a lot of really good things offensively. I thought they did a decent job of running the football. Just Caleb Williams, when everything broke down, he was able to just pull a straight Houdini act in this ball game and just keep the chains moving. Like he just does. He sets up. He never really goes lateral. And my biggest thing about pocket presence is he knows where the rush is coming from. He keeps his eyes on the field the whole time, and then he also just is able to go forward in the pocket, not go laterally. Like that. That's where you get dead, in that dead zone where you get sacked. He presses the line of scrimmage, and then when it's one, especially if you're playing man coverage, he does a great job of just getting down the field. And he did that in this game. But a couple of really big points in this game was USC goes up 21-7. And I thought that if Lincoln Riley could have come up with some plays here where in that junction of the game, it was just a great opportunity to kind of put the Utes away. But they couldn't put the Utes away. And I think a lot of it was they hit so many big plays, and you can see that in games where you hit so many big plays that you end up keep trying for more and more and more. Where I think if they just ran the ball, we're just solid. Maybe hit some of those screens to a Taj Gibson or a Mario Williams, some of the short, and just have more of a methodical type drive. They would have been able to score a touchdown on there because they had the Utes on the ropes. And the score was 21-7. And I'm pretty sure I counted because I watched the game a couple of times. They had 3 possessions. Not one, not two, not one, not two, but 3 possessions. 3 possessions where they had the football against the Utes, up 14. When you're an offensive, I mean, they're an offensive football team. No matter how you spread it, no matter how you say about it, they're an offensive football team. There's this defense is not there yet. It's getting there, but it's not there yet, and they'll probably be there next year. I just feel like that's a thing where they have to handle that. Like that's where they could have handled this game. They could have put this game away at 21, at 21-7. If they just get one more drive. They get one more drive, they're good to go. One more drive right there, and they were good to go. There's some really good things that kind of got wasted in here. Jason, tight end. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. I don't know why. Josh Follow was just a guy who just is in the game just to block. Comes away with 2 touchdowns because of the creativity. Like, yeah, nobody's ever gonna cover Josh Follow, right? Nobody's gonna follow, right? Nobody's gonna follow him, right? Nobody's gonna think he's gonna be part of the game plan, but he was a big part of the game plan in the red zone, and he's able to get a touchdown on a really nice, kind of like a little fake screen, and he just slipped the screen and right at the middle, touchdown pass. Nice catch, by the way, on that one. And then a screen pass where Mario Williams, who that's the one thing I'll say about this team is they do have willing blockers at the wide receiver position. Like Taj Washington is just a fantastic blocker. Some of these blocks that he has in these games are just unbelievable. For a guy who is what I don't even know how tall he is. How I won't give you the exact measurements of Taj Washington because he is this mighty man, number 16, loves to block. He's 5'10", 170, but just a great blocker, an absolute great blocker in the run game for them. And he also in this game was a guy who was very close to breaking a touchdown on a kickoff. And there were 2 of those plays in this game where it really hurt USC really hurt USC trying to break this game open and kind of end it. I'll talk about one guy who I really feel like this was a offensive explosion by both teams, and especially by in the first half by USC. But at some point, something has to break right for Brendan Rice. I mean, Brendan Rice has to get something on and popping with this USC team. He had a critical 3rd down play in one of those those 3 possessions I mentioned where it was 21-7, and he didn't come all the way back to the ball. If he came back to the ball, it would have been a first down. When Utah went up 1 late in this ball game on the 2-point conversion, which it's been. I mean, listen, I knew they were going for 2 the whole drive, so they did a good job by them on that 4-minute offense and getting the ball to Dalton Schultz. But their tight end Dalton Kincaid, 16 catches, 234 yards. I mean, you're gonna put this kid in the NCAA Hall of Fame with the performance you had here. But those plays were like those plays in this game were absolutely huge. And the USC really kind of fell. I'm not saying they can't say they fell apart because they were in this game. They responded. People want to talk about this team just being like a bunch of hired guns. I mean, what about Eric Gentry when he got hurt? I mean, when Eric Gentry gets hurt, he storms out of the tent, the in between timeouts. Afro flowing and on one leg, to his detriment, and goes out there and try to rally the troops, try to get a stop in this ball game. But back to Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice has a critical. I mean, when I say a critical, just monumentous holding penalty on a play on the kickoff where Utah kicks the ball off up 1, right? Kicks the ball off up 1. Raleek Brown almost has his magical moment with the Trojans, right? Like he almost has this magical moment with the Trojans. And you know, almost breaks it for a touchdown. But when you're home watching it, you're like, okay, boom, we got 2 timeouts, we got 30 something seconds, and we got the ball at the 50-yard line. We knew our kicker is pretty good from 45 yards and in, and then maybe you win the game that way, right? Critical holding penalty that he was on the other side of the field, had nothing to do with anything. And then next thing Caleb Williams is backed up. All kind of drama happens after that. But that was a critical hold. And he's not doing much in the passing game. He's not that. I thought he was going to be that body receiver, you know. But USC's trying to basically has to go some other places to kind of find that. But the critical holding penalty, not coming back on a critical third down, those things stink. You can't have those things happen in games here where you're trying to win the Pac-12. I mean, winning the Pac-12 is the most important thing right now because it's what, and I know what people are going to say, like, hey, they're a year away, they're a year away. But if you get into a championship game against somebody, whether it's Denver, whether it's Denver, whether it's Georgia or Alabama or Tennessee, when the game is being played, you never know what's going to happen. The old Wyclef song, anything can happen. Anything can happen. What's up? Anything can happen. I mean, like, for real, anything can happen in those games. So just get to the game, and we'll just and you can just take it from there, right? So that's why some of these games were just like, it was really just huge losses, huge mistakes in this ball game by the Trojans, even though they played really good on offense throughout. I'm gonna save the defense for a second because we gotta talk about the defense. Mario Williams, we love calling Super Mario. I mean, some of the best plays in the game are going to be made by Mario Williams. The problem is some of the worst plays in the game are also going to be made by Mario Williams. They had an opportunity to score before the half. He had a critical drop at midfield. It looked like, to me, Dean Blandino special, of course, because he loves making these stupid calls, right? Dean Blandino immediately says, "Hey, it's going to be an incomplete pass. He went to the ground." It pretty much looked like to me that he had it, took 2 steps, and then he's fumbling going to the ground. But if they go into the ground, they make that play an incomplete pass. He has to hold that football there. He has to hold that football. You cannot fumble that. You can't fumble that ball away. This is like the kind of the second week in a row where he's had a critical drop, and he also made one of the most circus catches you could ever see made. You ever see made by a receiver. I mean, it's the catch. I thought Clay Williams was for sure when he rolled out and threw the ball down the sideline to Mario Williams. I thought for sure that play was going to be one in which he was throwing the ball out of bounds. He did a great job of staying in bounds, and USC ended up scoring a touchdown after that. But these critical drops, the mental error of the last drive of the game. First down, 1st and 10. I think it was it was second down or first down, but Caleb Williams scrambles for a 20-yard gain. They get the ball at almost midfield, and it's a false start by Mario Williams. Like, you can't false start there, dude. Come on, cousin. Like, come on. I know it's loud, but even if you're late getting into your route, it's better than being early, because there is no penalty for being late getting out to the route. The penalty is when you're early on the route. So that was really tough. I thought also in this game, the Trojans did not turn the ball over in this game, and they caused a turnover. Great play by Eric Gentry. All 6'7" of him got really low, hit helmet on the ball versus the Utah running back, forced a fumble. You think, hey, this is what USC does. They force a fumble. Excuse me. They forced a fumble. When they get the fumble, they don't do anything with it. Maybe something quick to get the ball out of Caleb's hands. Maybe it's something to just kind of get the drive going. I know I believe they picked up a first down, giving the ball to Jordan Addison as well. So they got some pull with that play on that drive, but they didn't get down. They didn't get down and score off of that play where you just need that field goal. Just need to get something out of the points for the defense getting that stop. They weren't able to, and then the next drive they came through and scored. So USC, as far as the offense goes, I thought it was a great performance. I thought he did a great job. I can't really complain about the offense in any way in this game. He scored 42 points. It's hard to knock a unit that scored 42 points. I just thought the one part of this game that was really tough is when they were up 21, up 35-28, get the turnover from defense. I know it was a long field because it was in the red zone. It was at the 5 yard lines. It was a 95-yard drive, or maybe even a drive where they can go get a field goal. They weren't able to do that. And then I thought at 21-7, those three possessions were huge. Not to get any points out of that was really just a tough blow to this team. It's a really tough blow to this team to not get any points out of that drive. As far as that goes, but the game plan, they started fast. They haven't started fast like that in a while. I thought that Travis Dye obviously was a leader on this team. He kind of talked to this team before the game and said, "Hey, we got to start fast. We got to get things going." And he was able to get things going in this ball game. And started have a fast start on the road in an environment. This was the total opposite of what happened in Corvallis, right? Corvallis was like, it was a sugar honey iced tea show. We thought for sure that they had to show that they could handle this epic environment that the Utes and their fans are going to bring. They did that. The offensive side did that. So I can't really, where I can nitpick one thing here and there, I can't say anything really negative about an offensive showcase where you're rushing for a lot of yardage. You're rushing for 27 carries. 27 carries for 175 yards. Caleb Williams had a 55-yard rush as well in this ball game too as well. So I can't sit there and kill them in any way possible. So good job there. Now let's go back to the defense. And shout out to Michael Jackson III for getting a touchdown catch in this game as well. So I understand that USC is not there defensively yet. I don't think they don't have the depth on the defensive line. Tuilopo is a really good pass rusher, but could use some help. I think Solomon Byrd has been solid against the run. And I think in this game they were pretty good against the run when they tried to when the Utes tried to line up and run the football with Bernard or Thomas. They stuffed it. 11 carries for 37 yards is nothing, and 8 carries for 28 yards is nothing as well. I thought the biggest problem they had was Cameron Rising, and Cameron Rising's ability to run the football was a big part of this game. He also passed the ball for 415 yards. The guy's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, so I understand that. I think the biggest issue I had in this game was if you have to beg Lincoln Riley to call a timeout, Alice Grinch, he has to do that, because you can't allow a human being to have 16 catches into over 200 yards. You can't. You really can't. I mean, you just cannot allow that to take place. And I think the thing that really bothered me the most is I often say this: free release means free points. You know who the stars are on each team. When they're spread out, like a team like USC, where it's Williams, Addison, like all these guys, they have so many guys, it's hard to really key on one. That's a little different. But when you're playing a team like Utah, where it's pretty clear where they want the football to go. is Dalton Kincaid and nobody else. And you can't allow 16 catches by him. You can't. Over the top, underneath, you have to hit him at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they did a lot in this game of just flat out just drop back passing, which and they used the play action fake. And I think after a while, I mean, I thought USC did a bad job of just like recognizing, hey, they're not running it. And you can play a lighter defense and tell them, hey, go run the football. Because the USC defensive line did a pretty good job against the run, and I thought they did a good job tackling these running backs. But that's really poor. I mean, it's just poor football. You can't make it up how bad they were in this game as far as just recognizing who the great players are on this team, and obviously Valley and Kincaid were the targets of this game. I know Parks had one catch for Parks had one catch for 45 yards. But you got to recognize that. And he had, I thought the deep pass down the sideline where he mossed Mekhi Blackton. Great play. It's gonna sometimes you tip your cap. I mean, I thought he had a seam catch over the middle where he beat Shane Lee. Great pass and great catch there. I mean, you put it somewhere where nobody else can get it. So great job by them as far as that goes. But if you have to hit him at the line of scrimmage and then play over the top, if you have to change up the coverage, maybe you put your 6'7" linebacker and Eric Gentry on him. Like maybe you try something like that. But you got to hit him at the line of scrimmage. It starts at hitting him at the line of scrimmage. He's killing you. They're not going anywhere else. They're not going anywhere else with the football. You can't have that. You can't have that. The rack was out of control. The run after the catch with Dalton Kincaid was, if I call him Dalton Schultz, I'm sorry, it's Dalton Kincaid. But if you can't have this kid just go nuts in this game like that. You can't. You got to stop it. They're not even running the football. At that point, you adjust and you make them run the football. They want to try to beat you up with Rising, then and that's when you can hit Rising. When the quarterback is in part of the running game, you punish him for that. I applaud Shane Lee's effort, but for me, if Shane Lee isn't available to be himself, if Shane Lee isn't available to be who he needs to be, then sit him. Because we know he's not going to be great in coverage. And I know Railing Go Forth is not not a top player either, but like he's not good in coverage. So anything as far as the pass game goes, everything that went towards Shane Lee was a problem. But then there were some plays, especially on that last drive, where boom, Dalton Kincaid catches the ball, and then not only does he catch it, gets the first down, and then he gets out of bounds. Like that's just too much. That's just too much. He obviously cannot. We know Shane Lee is a better tackler than that. So, but if he can't tackle, then just play somebody. You gotta play somebody else. I mean, I know he wants to play, but like you just can't. You can't have him. You can't have him on the field, and him in coverage against Kincaid was not a good idea. Even though it took an absolute perfect play, let him throw that ball over Gentry. They tried they put Jalen Smith on him later on. I just feel like it's just not. Basically they had the same kind of game plan that Oregon State had. They just have a better quarterback than Oregon State. They have a guy who's going to get drafted and play on Sundays at some point. That's the thing that happened. I mean, they had Cameron Rising. It's kind of the difference between this team and in Oregon State is the fact that he's going to play. This quarterback is going to play on Sundays. This quarterback's going to play on Sundays, and the other quarterback's not. But that's the difference between these two teams. So just a bad job there. And I thought also it was really a simple game plan by them. They would spread USC out, rush. I'm not spread USC out, pass have four receivers go down the field, and then run and they get a one-on-one with with Kincaid, first down. Happened a lot in this game. And wherever Kincaid goes, I mean, you gotta do a better job than that. Try Kalen Bullock on him. Try. You gotta hit him. You have to hit him at the line of scrimmage. You cannot. Free release is free points. You cannot do that. Whether you're playing man or zone, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta hit the hell. You gotta hit the hell out of him at the line of scrimmage. Even if you use a rusher, even if you use one of your defensive linemen to hit him first and then go get the quarterback, you can't allow 16 catches for 200 yards by a tight end. Like, come on. That's way too much, and way too much. Kind of just reacting to the play action fake. Thule was really nowhere in this ball game. I know we sung his praises. I know we one of the league leaders in sacks, but one tackle in this ball game. I give them credit. They did a really good job in this game. But I also think and I think one of the biggest things they did in this game too that was huge was they did a really good job, and some of it was helped by the officials, but they did not allow this team to, how can I put it, be in long situations. Everything was a short. Everything was second and short, second and five. Everything was manageable in this game. They were never really in those really third and long situations where Thule can go after the quarterback and go get him. So that was a problem as well. So talk offense, talk defense, special teams. I mean, the eye discipline on defense was another thing that drove me crazy. Just really people looking in the backfield all the time. It was not a good look as far as that goes. So bad job by the defense. They get that one turnover. Should have been more than one turnover. But you really needed more complete play, because I think in this game you probably said if you told Lincoln Riley that Cameron Rising was going to throw the ball 44 times, he was going to say, "Oh, we got at least 4 sacks," and they got. I don't think they got any. Did they get any sacks in this game at all? I don't think they got a single. They got They got one. They got a tackle for loss. They got a half a tackle loss from Solomon Byrd and Tellini. And Tellini, that's it. Besides that, no sacks, no nothing, right? So you can't understand why that would happen in a game like this. Big game for them. Did not get it done. So we got to move on. As far as that goes. So kickoff, I thought the kickoff return game was really good. Talked about Taj Washington getting doing a good job there. He's a great blocker, really good role player for this team. So I love Taj Washington. I mean, he's one of my favorite players on this team. I thought Raleek Brown almost had that moment. Almost had that, people comparing him to Reggie Bush. I mean, he's not Reggie Bush, but he has that Reggie Bush ability. He's not, as a freshman, he's not really scared of the moment. Kind of missed a pass protection that cost USC in this game. And then the offensive line kind of went after him for a little bit, said, "Hey, you should have been blocking. You should have been blocking this guy here." And he missed the block on that, but he almost had that moment. He almost ran it back for a touchdown, but he did a good enough job where he got to the 50-yard line. But Brendan Rice, again, I mean, they got to do something over the bye week to get Brendan Rice going. Like, Brendan Rice is a really good player. He's better than this. They got to get Brendan Rice going. That's going to be the key to the depth, especially with the injury to Jordan Addison. We don't know how long Jordan Addison is going to be out, but Brendan Rice has to get going. Brandon Rice has to get going really badly, and Austin Jones needs to get going as well because I think the wear and tear on Travis Dye is going to end up coming back to haunt the USC Trojans in this game. But I thought Taj Gibson, I'm sorry, I can't say Taj Gibson, Tyler Washington played well. I thought Riddick Brown almost had that moment, almost broke one at the end. Bad holding call there as well. The kicks were okay as far as this goes. They're all extra points, so you have to worry about the kicking game as far as Dennis Lynch goes. I did think that what made it difficult in this game as well too was the fact that they didn't have a good kicking game in this game. The kicking game was not that good for Utah. So not forcing them to kick field goals when they were in the red zone was really tough. I know they probably would have went for it on almost every fourth down because that's how good USC is. They kind of had to go for it. Tough play there, but bad. Like I said, I saw some USC podcasts say that this was an embarrassing loss. I'm like, I don't know about embarrassing. I thought it was just a well thought out game. I thought they fought back. I thought there was a moment in this game where the Utes stood tall. Where the Utes stood tall in this game, and that was 21-7. And where the Trojans could have really kind of exploded and just ended this game. And you can say that the officials did that, but they still have opportunities to do that. And they didn't take advantage of it when they had 3 possessions up 21-7 and didn't take advantage of it. Now, the time management situation. So, the Utes have the ball at the 1 yard line. It's 2nd and goal. You got to call timeout. Call timeout with 2. It'd been your first timeout. You got to call timeout. So you got to call timeout immediately. You can't not call timeout. You cannot not call timeout there. You gotta call timeout. Somebody has to be screaming in his ear. The offensive staff got to be screaming in Lincoln's ear. Call timeout when they get the ball at the 1 yard line on that 2nd down run. So you have 90. If Caleb Williams has 90 seconds in this game with a timeout or even no timeouts, I can tell you they're gonna win this game on a field goal. They're gonna win this game on the field goal, and they're gonna be a top 5 ranked team in the AP. You gotta call timeout. Gotta be better at time management in that spot. The staff, that's a whole staff thing. That's not only that's a staff thing. That's a Lincoln Riley thing. You got to be thinking about getting the ball back to Caleb Williams. It's huge. You got to get the ball back to Caleb Williams in that spot because he's hot. He's on fire. The guy is just. I mean, they got to play man coverage in that situation too. So, I mean, as soon as they turn your back, if the pass rush doesn't get there, he's having free lanes to run all over the place. 2 Caleb Williams runs, and you're in field goal range. And you're sitting there just trying to make it closer. So that's really not. I mean, that's a tough play there. I thought that it was a really bad showing there by the offensive staff to not get a timeout there. And I thought that was, and there was enough. As bad as the officials were, as bad as a lot of these situations were in this game, I gotta say that USC had their moments. They had their chances. You can't just say the officials. Yeah, that was a tough play on that roughing the passer call. It wasn't roughing the passer. It was not roughing the passer. Did you see the SEC play where the guy helmet to helmet, the ball's out, and you got Bryce Young on the ground? I mean, that play was a concussion waiting to happen. Nothing called. So it is what it is as far as that goes. So USC looking their wounds right now a little bit. Kind of just thinking about what could have been because they really should have won this game. A lot of emotion in this game, a lot of crying by some players, showing it means a lot to this team. This whole thing means a lot. We got to see about the injuries to Gentry. Got to see about the injuries to Addison. It makes a little foggy picture as far as the playoff goes, but doesn't make a foggy picture for the for USC going forward playing these games because they got a clear path to get into Vegas. And the path is through Pasadena, passes through the Rose Bowl, and the path is through beating UCLA. That's the path. And UCLA is really good. UCLA is really talented. UCLA is well coached. Their defensive line is really good. Their the running back is really good, and their quarterback is outstanding. It'll probably be a game just like this one. 42-43 somebody. That's how good UCLA is. So UCLA has a big game against Oregon this week. So we'll see what happens there. I think Utah's schedule. I have Utah's schedule coming up too in the Pac-10, Pac-12. Sorry, they play at Washington State. That will not be an easy game for them. And then their next tough game will be on November 19th, and that will be against Oregon. Against Oregon. So Oregon gets UCLA and Utah at home. So for the Ducks, they do have a chance. They have a path. They have a path, really good path for that as well, too. But USC, UCLA, that game is going to be huge. Chip Kelly versus Lincoln Riley is going to be primetime TV. We have to see who comes out on top of that one, but that's going to be a big one because the rest of the opponents that USC plays, I mean, they don't. I mean, we can run through it after the bye. They have a bye this week, 6-1. They're one of the top teams in the Pac-12, so they have a road game against Arizona. That's a win. I mean, Cal at home, Colorado at home, and then they go to UCLA. I mean, and then Notre Dame at home during Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, that would be what we call, that's one game. You're gearing up for one big game. You gotta handle these opponents coming up real quick. And then after that, take care of UCLA. Because that game's not gonna be easy. That game is 100% not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. Not gonna be easy at all. So crazy. All right, USC Student Body Right, USC podcast. I'm going to sign off right here. Continue to fight on. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us everywhere. We got some cool stuff. Do some bi-week stuff. Kind of break some stuff down for you coming up. See if we get any guests as well too on the podcast as well. So should be fun. Should be fun times here. But 43-42 USC loses. We know why they lost. It wasn't just the officials, folks. Like that's baby talk. Where this is a big boy program now. The Clay Helton era is over. We talk big boy noise. We talk about big boy things, and you got to stand up and be a man. And they did not make these plays in this game enough to win. They could have stopped the 2-point conversion. They didn't. They could have scored up 21-7, 3 possessions. Didn't. Got a turnover. Did not score. Did not score or move the football enough. 35-28. Didn't do that. Couldn't cover Dalton. Couldn't cover Dalton Kincaid. 16 catches. Should have hit him at the line of scrimmage. Should have done anything you could to disrupt his game. It wasn't like he was going down the field, going vertically all the time. He was around the 10 yards, within the 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So things could have got. You could have made life a lot easier for yourself by hitting him at the line of scrimmage, playing maybe just manning up with your most athletic players after you hit him at the line of scrimmage to see if you can kind of stunt what he wants to stop what he wants to do and stop giving him free releases every single time. I mean, I can't think of one time in this game where you got hit in the line of scrimmage. Not even one time. So that's why they lost. Offense, no closeout. Defense, couldn't stop Kincaid. All right. Fight on.